Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I will be making a unboxing and usage tutorial for this camera, which is VANTRUE Nexus 4 Pro. VANTRUE Nexus 4 Pro. Now I keep saying venture, but this is actually VANTRUE. It's not venture. It's VANTRUE. So there will be 3 separate videos, so please pay attention. The first video is unboxing and tutorial, usage tutorial on the camera itself. The second video will be linking it to your smartphone and then using it on your smartphone. So basically usage tutorial on a smartphone with that and how to link it to the smartphone and use it. The third video will be like a review of how the quality is driving at night, driving during the day. This will be 3 separate videos. The first video that you're about to watch right now, it's only usage tutorial and unboxing to learn how to use it without a phone. Okay, if you want to learn how to use it with a phone, then watch my second video. And if you want to know how the video quality is, watch the third video. All right, so let's get started. So the unit comes in a box, very nice and fancy. It's a good. The box is good quality. It's not like a cheap box. But let's see what the goods are like. We don't care about the box. So I'm going to open it. Okay. So we have 2. This is just like iPhones. This is something that most companies copy from iPhones to, you know, tear a little piece of paper to get it to open. Okay, so the box is open, and this is basically a simple wiring diagram that shows how everything works. And this camera has 3 cameras. This dash camera has a front camera, interior camera, and back camera. This is the back facing camera that records the driver, and then you have the front camera facing the other way, and this is the rear camera that you're gonna have to wire. It's not wireless, so you have to hardwire it. Okay, let's get everything out. The dash cam itself is pretty good size. It's not something that you would be able to hide from people who are breaking into your car. This is a very obvious kind of a thing. I mean, it's very obvious. It's huge. People will see it. If someone is breaking into your car, they will notice this camera. That's a bad thing. I mean, the camera should be more like discreet, not visible. But yeah, that's what it is. It's pretty big. Okay. Here, what do we have here? We have the mount. We have cables. And this is the tool that allows you to lift the vehicle plastic interior frame in order to shove inside these cables so that they are not visible. Okay, let's see anything else in here. We have the cable, the manual, the thief deterrent. Like they care, like they care about this, seriously. Okay. They're actually going to break into your car just to get the camera. You know what I mean? Anyways, okay, so let's see. All right. They have these adhesive double-sided stickies, which I like because the suction cap gets loose and the camera falls off. This is the alcohol wipes to clean the windshield before you put in these, so it doesn't, you know, the windshield glass surface has to be pretty clean. I don't recommend putting these because if you put this, it actually tells people what kind of an expensive camera you have. But yeah, it comes with that, and it comes with 2 of these. Screen protector. What the screen protector is for, it remains to be seen because it's way too big for it to be for that guy. So maybe you have to like cut it to that size. Okay. And the owner's manual. This is the barcode that you scan in order to download the full scale manual. By the way, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video down below. I'm going to leave the manual link for the manual, so you can get the manual. And that's it. So all the rest is the information. Okay, let's open these things. Okay, so this little sticky thing that came separate, that's in addition to the one that comes in the camera. So you get one with the camera and these guys that are separate. So basically they give you an extra one. And maybe the other extra one is for the rear camera. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, this is an extra one for the rear camera. They give you one extra for each camera. Let's see. Okay. Very nice little USB-C plug. Okay, and what else do we have? This is the power on off. This is the actual camera. And okay, this is a slide-in type of thing, and it's magnetic. This it has magnet, and it goes right there like that, and you can remove it like this, but it's not gonna fall off when it's mounted from here, because you have to push it this way to come out. So pushing it down, as the gravity pushes the camera down, this is not gonna disengage. Okay, so what I'm going to do, in order for you to be able to see this card and also the actual buttons, I'm gonna peel the card out. By the way, this has a really good size screen. Look at that screen, man. That's good size screen. The screen is like 2.5 inches, and if you go diagonally, it's a 3-inch, 2.75 inch, which is 7 centimeter diagonally. That's a very good screen. 7 centimeter diagonally is a very, very good screen. Okay, let's put this in this perspective so you could see what each button does. So notice the round button is the power button, which is this guy right here. So if you quickly press this button, it's emergency lock and in a snapshot. It will basically, if there's an accident and you quickly press it, it takes a snapshot of that scene or snapshot of the road or whatever the camera is facing. It will take a snapshot. If you press it longer, then it will play the role of on-off, like turning it on, turning it off. When they say longer, that means a second or two. It doesn't mean that you have to hold it for 10 seconds. So it's like click or click, let go, like that. It's not like holding it there and counting. And then the video button. The video button is the first button as you're looking at it. This button right here. The video button, if you press it quickly, it will record. It will turn the record on off, and then if you press it longer, it will turn the screen on off. Like if the screen is too bright and it's bothering you, that's what it does. It turns the screen on off. Now the down arrow, or you could call it up arrow because this one is down arrow. So the up arrow, if you press it long enough, it will switch. If you press it short or long, in both cases, here it's short or long, both cases it will switch between the cameras. But here, as I could see, it shows that it can even put PIP of the camera, of the rear camera. Like you see, the main screen shows one camera, where the PIP, let me get a needle because that thing is too big, and the PIP shows the second camera. Like this would be your rear camera, or your driver viewing the driver, and this would be their actual camera. And this is the one that switches it back and forth by pressing it shorter or pressing it longer. So now we come to the down arrow. The down arrow will change the microphone to on off. You know that by default the dash cameras don't record the sound for privacy of the driver speaking and people in the vehicle talking. So you have to press it to make the microphone on, and pressing it again will make it off. If you press it long enough, then it will take the unit to parking mode. The parking mode means that you will be walking out of the car, parking the vehicle, the camera will still be recording. Now remember, the parking mode is possible if your vehicle cigarette lighter port is powered even when the vehicle is off. Not all cars are like that, so you have to check with that first. Now this is the menu. If you press it short, it's menu. If you press it long, it's the Wi-Fi on off. This button right here. So press it short gives you the menu, press it long, Wi-Fi on off. This right here is the infrared sensor. Now the infrared sensor is usually for devices that have a remote control. I don't know why they have the infrared sensor if they don't even have remote control with this unit. So that's something that I have to see. Maybe there's a remote in this box. Let me open this box. Yeah, before I jump to conclusion. No, there is no remote control. So maybe the remote control is an optional thing, or why they have the infrared here. That remains to be seen, why it is there. Okay. Alright, so those are the quick. Now obviously you have to remove the lens protector from here and the lens protector from the rear camera. Both lens protectors need to come off, and not to mention the lens protector from the actually this is the driver camera, this is the front camera, this is the inside vehicle camera, this is the front camera, and this is the rear camera. All cameras have the degree to rotate. You know, you can adjust it to the correct height that you need it to be. Same thing with the main camera. There it is, this guy. You could adjust it. Now as far as this camera, this doesn't you don't have much option to adjust this, because this main camera has a very wide angle. It already, you know, records like very wide angle. So that's why the only adjustment you have, I guess, is the amount of tilt that you can get from the windshield. Assuming this is attached, so you will get this much adjustment of that camera, facing up, facing down, like that. That's about it as far as how much wiggle room this has. But this one has a good degree of you know, motion, a good decent degree of motion. This is the power or information transfer for the rear camera, and the rear camera plugs into there. So the SD card on this unit is actually underneath the power button. This power button is actually a magnetic cover. The actual power button is underneath this. This is the actual power button, so this little thing pushes against that. This is the reset button, and this right here is where the SD goes, the micro SD. This unit supports up to 512 gigabyte, almost 1 terabyte, half a terabyte of memory. Let me put this guy back in there. I knocked it out of its place. Putting this one back wasn't easy. I had to use a needle to push it back in place. So that's something you might want to know, not to push it too hard, because once it goes out, then you need a needle to put it back in. Okay, so that's that, and now let's power it up and see what it does. Okay, so plugged it in. So first you have to choose your language. Obviously the first thing is to choose the language. Now you would think this is the touch screen, it would have been so good, but I don't see it being a touch screen. So let's see. Yeah, it's not a touch screen. That's a bummer. So basically you see these corresponding icons, 1, 2, 3, 4. These icons are corresponding to each one of these buttons that you have to press. So basically whatever you see on the screen, that will be the job of this button when you press it. Like for example, if I press this, it's going to be returning to the previous page. This is returning to the right, returning to left. Let's assuming I want to choose French language, then I'm gonna choose right arrow, which is this button. So that's what that is. So English is my language, so I'm going to press OK. Now you have to choose your time region. I'm in Pacific time zone. I'm in California, so I have to choose the Pacific time here. And let's see, where is the Pacific time? So there it is, Los Angeles. I don't know if you can see that. Its font is very small. Let me see if I can zoom further. There. So yeah, so that's Los Angeles is the one. So I'm gonna press OK, which is this button. Now I have to choose the time format, the calendar format. If I wanted month, day and year, or how you want it. So in the United States, it's the way they write it is month is first, and then it's the day, and then it's the year. So the one that has been chosen, or I should say the default one, is the one that I want to keep. So click OK. Now we have to choose a time. Let me turn off these lights. It's so much glare. 1 second. Okay. Still glare. Still glare. There you go. Okay. So now what I will do. I don't know, man. What to do to get the footage without glare. I already have fingerprints on it. So time right now is the date right now is, let's see, what's the date here? The date is Wednesday, August 1st. So that's 8. And then we have to go to the right. So 8 is OK. So you have to press OK for 8. And this one is August 1st, 2023. Time is 6:11 p.m. So 6 is 18, by the way, and the military time, it's 18. $18, 11, and that's good. So I press OK. Frequency, the higher the frequency, the better it is, because the lower frequencies will flicker. Okay, the unit of measurement in the United States is miles per hour, not kilometers per hour. But in other countries, it's going to be kilometer, except for UK and the United States, that's going to be miles per hour. And there are a couple other smaller countries, but the main countries that use miles is the United States. India and Pakistan used to be mile, but they did metrication, so it's kilometers there now. Okay. Now what type of Wi-Fi? 5 gigahertz, obviously. Who wanna stick with a slower one? So, oh, by the way, I have to clarify something. Even though the 2.4 gigahertz is slower frequency, it is longer range compared to this. So if you have a weak signal on 5 gigahertz, your 2.4 will be very strong signal, because it goes further away, it travels further away. So currently it doesn't have any card, but if I did have a card, it would format the card. So the first thing is that as soon as you put a brand new SD card into the unit here, this is by the way where the SD card goes, and the pins will be facing the power switch right here, and the shiny side will be facing the screen basically. Okay, the other side, the front of the camera, the lens side, is where the actual logo of the thing comes, the SD card. We push that back in, and notice it is already recording. It's already recording has started. In order to go to the menu, if I press the menu, it says you can't go to the menu because it's recording. So you have to press this once to stop the recording. The recording has stopped. Now I can go to the menu. The first thing we need to do is do record setup or settings of the camera. But let's do the record setup. We have three options here. You have record setup, settings of the camera, and access the recorded files. This is your recorded files that you can access. Okay? Everything that you see right here corresponds to these buttons. So whatever you see on the screen, that functionality will be by that button associated to that icon. So at this moment, if I press the Wi-Fi button, this is like return. If I press the down arrow button or up arrow, one of these, it's going to the right and to the left. And if I press the little record button, it's like clicking OK. See, like right now, I'm going to the right. I'm going to the left, like that. So record setup, click OK. The first setting is resolution. You have to click OK to get to the resolution. Once you're in the resolution, this is the front camera resolution, and that one is the front cabin. None of these are the rear cameras. They're talking about the front camera and the front cabin. The front camera resolution, click OK, and it's at 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second, which is good. Leave it at that. And you could change it. See, you have all these options. All of these are worst, basically lower than 4K. So leave it at the highest. Okay. Now we have go up the front cabin. The front cabin is like the face of the driver and the passenger and all that. So click OK, and these are the options you have. You have 2160 plus 1080p, 30 frames per second, 2160 720. These are the options that you have. So the first one is decent. Leave it at that. You could choose the other ones. By the way, in order to pick the other ones, you press these down arrows and up arrows. That's how you choose the other ones. But I want to keep it there, so I click OK. Now I'm gonna go back and go down. A loop recording, just like the name says, it will record over the previous scene, and you could choose loops of how many minutes you want. I leave it off. I would leave it off, but you could choose. Oh, let me go to loop recording again. Loop recording. Okay, you have option between 1 minute, 3 minutes, and 5 minutes. Different options. I leave it off. I would leave it off. Default is off. And then infrared sensor. The infrared sensor at the bottom of the camera. Right there. This guy. It's actually for a remote control. Now, this didn't come with a remote control. Maybe it's sold separately. But right now it's at automatic. You could choose between auto, off, or on. I guess the auto would be the best choice at this, but you could change it with these arrow buttons to off or on if you wanted to. Okay. So now this is the G sensor. This is very important. Please pay attention. The front, rear, right, left and right, up and down. There are three different types of G sensors, and I'm going to explain this very in detail so you understand what this is. Okay, so assuming this is your car, this is the front of the car, this is the back of the car. So the G sensor that's for front and rear is the sensor of the motion like this. If someone hits you from the back, that G sensor, or if you hit someone, how sensitive the sensitivity you want it to be. That's the G sensor, okay, for front and rear. And then you have right and left G sensor. If someone side hits you, T-bones you from the side, this type of a sensor, how sensitive you want that sensor to be. And then the fourth one is up and down sensor. If you hit a bump, like the car goes up and down like this, how sensitive you want that to be. Those are the three different types of G sensors that you can adjust here. So you need to, I recommend to leave the default, but if you click OK, each one has its own settings. 1, 2, and 3, these are the sensitivity. How sensitive you want it to be. Leave it at 1. 1 is the least sensitive. 5 is the most sensitive. Leaving it at very high sensitivity will fill up your SD card unnecessarily by saving videos assuming that it was an incident when actually it wasn't an incident. So you have to choose which one you want. And if you choose a very low number, maybe you might want to choose 2 or 3, because if you choose a very low number, minor fender bender and small accidents will not be recorded or saved, because it thinks, well, the sensitivity is very low, so it's not going to count that as an accident. So that's something you need to decide for yourself. But again, there are 3. Front and rear is the most important. Left and right, I mean, how often somebody gets T-boned. But yeah, that's another G sensor. This is such a nice camera that it has 3 G sensors. Can you imagine that? 3 G sensors inside one single camera? Okay, so now let's go to the lower. Privacy mode. Privacy mode is when the unit gives you, the driver and the cabin, the privacy. So if you leave the privacy mode off, you don't have a privacy. It records your face and whatever happens inside the vehicle. So you know, you need to, that's something is up to you, but you could, you know, turn it on and off depending on which one you want. So when the privacy mode is off, it's recording. When it's on, it is not recording. Audio recording. Do you want your conversation, what you say inside the vehicle, to be recorded? If you're always talking smack about your friends and whatnot, then you might want to turn off the sound. But the sound is actually very good, because it could, if there is an encounter of you get into an accident and the driver comes out and yells at you at your side window and says it's your fault, this and that, his voice will be recorded and you could use it in the court against him. But if you're the one who was, you know, yelling at him, then I don't know. That depends what kind of personality you have. Are you a bad talker or a bad mouth or not? And voice recording is either good for you or bad for you. So you need to make the decision. But if you want to change it, you click on OK, and then you turn it on or off. Okay. Let's go back. Exposure. Exposure, leave it at 0. But front camera exposure, click OK. Plus 0, or we could go minus. If it's too bright, the image recording is too bright, go negative. If the image is too dark, go positive. So that's what that is. Yeah, this is the cabin camera exposure. You could do whatever, too bright, too dark, whatever. So those are the things that you need to know. Now we have record status light. When it's recording, the LED light, the status, do you want it to blink or not? So currently it's on, but you could turn it off. To turn it off, you click and then choose off. Currently it's on. HDR, high definition recording, sure, why not? Leave it on. Of course it fills up the memory faster, but listen, if you can put 512 gigabyte in this thing, it can take 512 gigabytes of memory. I don't think space is your problem. So leave it on. Leave that on. It's a good thing to have. But you do have, for each camera, cabin and front camera, you have the option to turn it on and off. Currently the rear camera is not attached, but if it was attached, it would give you the option for that as well. So that's what that is. Actually, let me attach the rear camera. Okay, so in order to connect, see, you can power this unit from the cradle, from right here, or from here. Both have the power logo on them. But rear camera can only be plugged in here. So that's why I had to move this to here, and I'll plug in the rear camera over here. So now I have my rear camera attached to it. However, let's see, record, I'm gonna turn it off. Turn off the recording, go to menu, go to settings. I want to see if I have the rear camera option. HDR, okay. And there you go. We have the rear camera option available now because the rear camera has been attached. Rotate display. Now this is very important not to rotate because if you do it, it will be very hard for you. Because if the camera is mounted, currently the display is such that if the camera has to be mounted in the windshield like this. However, let me go to another camera. However, if the camera is not in the windshield like this, if it's on the dashboard like this, then your display is upside down. Then you have to use that button to turn the display so it's upright like this. That's what this turn display means, rotate display. So if you click on it, it will rotate it. I'm not going to do it. It will create headache for me, but that's what that is. So we go down. The mirror is not good. Don't turn it on because the writings on everything will be backwards. So let's say if you turn on the mirror and you're wearing a t-shirt with a writing on it, the writing will be backwards if the mirror is on. So keep it off. You could enter your own car license plate number, and if you enter that, you click OK, and then the license plate is on. And if you enter it, this is where you enter it, by the way. But if you do that on the recorded video, at the bottom of the recorded video, it shows your license plate number. This is just for the court. So if there is a lawsuit or something, if you get hit by someone, then you could prove that the footage came from the vehicle with such and such license plate. But I don't recommend it because it's simply giving away your license plate number with every footage. So, like what if you see a deer crossing the road when you're driving and you want to put the footage of the deer crossing the road on YouTube? Guess what? Your license plate will also be on YouTube. So I don't recommend that. So go down. Now this is stamp. What kind of stamps you want on the video, recorded video? At the bottom of the video, let me explain this clearly. So this is your recorded video, right? At the bottom of the video, you could have the vehicle speed, you could have the GPS coordinates, you could have the time and date. All this information will be stamped at the bottom, including your license plate number if you want to. And this setting that we are looking at right now, this asks you which stamps you want to happen. So click OK, and those are the stamps. Currently, everything that the box is checked right here is being stamped on the recorded image. So right now, date and time is being recorded. Brand and model number is being recorded. License plate number, you could write like Toyota Camry, for example. And then license plate number, speed, how fast you were going. Be careful with the speed, because if you have the speed stamp, you could be held responsible if you're going above the speed limit. So if you're always a lawbreaker as far as speed is concerned, a fast driver, I would uncheck that box. And the GPS location tells your location where exactly that happened, the incident. So it's a double-edged sword, because it could be used for or against you depending on what kind of person you are, driver. Okay, so time lapse. Time lapse is currently off, but you could leave it on. Let's see what options we have. So currently we have a single frame per second. Actually leave it off because the quality drops tremendously. I mean, can you believe 1 frame per second? These are designed for people who want to save their SD card memory. They don't want the storage to fill up quickly. But if you buy a large enough memory card, you don't even need to turn this on. So I recommend to leave it off. Okay. Parking mode is important. You need to set up your parking mode, and you need to motion detection. You need to set for different mode. You have to set that collision detection, motion detection. Like Motion detection and collision detection is two different animals. Collision detection is like the G-shock when the camera moves, but the motion detection is like if somebody moves in front of the car. Like when you're in the parking mode and you're parking your car in the city, there's all kinds of motion in front of your car. You don't want it to be recording everything, so you disable the motion detection. But if you're parking in a underground garage, then you want to leave the motion detection on, because there shouldn't be any motion happening in an underground garage unless someone breaks in or someone comes. And then all the rest you can choose which one you want. Collision detection, you could choose bitrate. The bitrate is like what kind of a quality. I recommend the highest quality, but you have 1080p at 15 frames per second or 720p at 15 frames per second. Remember that parking mode is not the same quality recording as regular mode, because they don't want the camera to fill up the memory with useless parking parking garage footage. That's why. So let's see. Low frame rate mode. Now this I don't like, the low frame rate mode. I don't like this. Don't do that. Leave it at full frame. And yeah, so that was the parking. And then low light night vision parking mode. This is good. I recommend this to enable this because you want it to be if the vehicle is parked in the night, at night, you want the images to be visible in low light. Motion detection area. Now, motion detection area, you could, the visual side of the camera, you could choose like only the right side to be motion sensitive, not the left side. People do this like if they park in front of their house and this is their main entrance that they're going and coming all the time. They don't want the camera to be triggered by them going back and forth. Let's say this on the right side is their side yard entrance, which no one goes there. So that's where you want the motion active, which means in case someone goes to your side yard, the camera will be activated, and it's not going to get activated. So if you click OK and you say front area detection, so you click OK again. So now what you do is right now 5x. 5x means the entire screen. The whole screen is motion sensitive. But if you click again, that's 1x. Only the center is motion sensitive. Now you could move with this little arrow. You could move it to the right. And now only the right of the camera is motion sensitive. If something happens here, motion will not be activated. Only on the right it will be activated. If my hand goes to the left, my finger, it's not going to trigger the camera, but if I come to the right, it will trigger the camera. Those are the things that, but if you do 5x, the whole screen is activated. So that's what it is. And the same goes with the rear camera. If you click the rear camera, this is the rear camera right here. So that's me right there. And yeah, let me remove the cover so you could see there. And you could do the same with the rear camera. Look. Okay, so now we go down. Mileage statistics. Basically, it keeps a log file of your mileage, where you drove, how long, and if you click OK, you can turn it on or off. Leave it on. It doesn't hurt to have that. To leaving it on, GPS settings. Okay, speed limit, GPS information. Yeah, leave all of those. It's good. It's good to have the GPS to be on. If you turn off the GPS, then it doesn't know your location or speed. That's the only way it knows. So don't turn it off. And speed limit. Speed unit. Miles per hour in America. Kilometer per hour everywhere else except for Great Britain. And GPS information shows, the location, latitude, longitude, and all that. And there, those are that. Okay, so that was GPS settings. Let's go down. Resolution. Again, you have to choose the resolution. Let's see. Front camera resolution. We already went to that. Okay, this is The menus are complete, so this is the repeat. Okay, so this was the settings of the camera. Now we haven't even started with the Wi-Fi connection. Now let's make another video that teaches you how to connect to Wi-Fi and all the rest of it. I don't want this video to be too long. We've already reached 30 minutes almost. So I'll make another video how to sync it to your smartphone and how to use the smartphone to control certain features and all that. Okay, thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe.